Let's go out to L.A. The new anthem, California Love Part 2. To live and die in L.A. West side, west side, west side. To live and die in L.A. where everybody try to fatten their pocket. So many hustle for the cash, so it's hard to knock it. Everybody got their own thing, currency chasing. Worldwide through the hard times, worrying faces. Shed tears as we bury brothers close to heart.
Well, hello. Greetings, community family, and welcome to Gang Talk with Skipp Townsend and Sister Herron. If I can remember who I am, and I know where I am, and I know who I'm
CNN.
with.
You at the CNN studio.
Yes, we at the, and I'm doing my Vanna Black. I did a misquote last time. This is the Vanna Black move here, showing you our beautiful new studio at the beloved Precious Morris Media, right in the hub of the Black community hangout place called the Crenshaw Corridor. So welcome once again to this very important hour for us. And Skip, thank you for being our co-host.
Well, sister, as always, I give honor and praise to God. I'm truly grateful to be alive. I was having that conversation this morning. I was in Pasadena, had a class, and I asked the people, I said, is there anything better than being alive? And some dude said money. And I just shook my head and I said, bless your heart. Brother, if you had all the money in the world, all you could put in your pocket, you could put as much in your bank account, you could fill up your garage full of money. If you was dead, that money means nothing.
It means nothing.
And he just didn't get it. And I was like, okay. And somebody else said, family? Yeah, family. And I'm like, man, if I got all my children, my grandparents are alive, my mom and dad live in the same house, man, family means nothing if I'm not there, man. You just don't get it. So
they missed the whole point.
Missed the whole point.
About being alive.
So common sense is not common, but sister, I am truly grateful to God that I'm alive and he gave me common sense, as you say, in my right mind.
Yes.
So I'm grateful and happy and blessed to be here. Truly blessed.
And you are a blessing. And the blessing is that you just spread it out among so many that could use that. And that's really our message, is how to figure out how we as a people can bless ourselves again the way we used to when we acted as a village, and not divided but united for our own safety and well-being. So, we celebrated a very important date, first Monday of this week, and thanks to great effort, it became a holiday even when others didn't want it to ever be. Right. And really wish that man had never walked the streets of this country and did the work and made the sacrifices that he did, as well as Malcolm did, and that's Dr. King. And so his birthday's this month, and L.A. has had one of the largest King parades in the country.
Yes.
And it's a tradition that the Southern California Ceasefire Committee has been involved tried to be involved in for quite a few years. Do you remember the first year that we started, Skip?
I don't remember, sister.
I know, it's so long ago you can't remember.
I don't remember. I remember when we started out, it had to be 2000, I want to say 8 or 9. I remember we started out in Compton. We were in the Compton office, 200 North Long Beach, and we would fix up the truck at night.
Right.
We wake up early and drive from there.
Town.
Right, drive across town. I remember that. So.
To get to the back of the parade in front of the trash trucks.
Behind the trash trucks are the horses that poop on the street. But yes, I remember.
Well, we were leading the trash trucks. That's really what the joke is in those days, is that nobody was behind us but them.
Right.
And the funny thing is this year we was pretty close to that same location again. Right.
And I think the people that normally fund that was sending a message like, you know what, here.
Well, and to be fair, I try to, and I hate to say I, because this is a we thing, and if we don't communicate with each other, then how is it supposed to come together like it's supposed to work out? And that was a dilemma that started this time last year that unfortunately carried over again this year. So a lot of people were frustrated and disappointed because they expect to see us.
Right.
they expect to see us. And so it was hard. It was very challenging to get it done this year, and only to end up leading the trash trucks again. That's the thing that was.
But you know what, sister? It's the challenges and obstacles. It is those type of things that individuals or groups overcome that really becomes the legacy.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, it's just like the lunch counters, you know, the people who did the young people from SNCC who did the sit-ins at the lunch counter.
Right.
Or, you know, so as we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr., and we celebrate his work, I would like to celebrate the work of everybody who was active during that time period. And, you know, they were, you know, they were in the end. They were in the back.
Yes, that's true. And the funny thing is that I was happy, as I always am, to be a part of that in the parade and bring our very specific message of peace to our community. It's a proud, honorable thing. And when I came home this Monday, I came home in time to watch Selma. Watch the movie Selma, hear a comment, and I'm having a blank. Hear the song that they wrote about that one day. Right. You know, it's going to come and it's going to be all right. And I believe that time is now in what I see.
Common and John Legend.
John Legend, right. Yeah. And sorry, John, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm just forgetful, that's all. But it was an amazing occurrence to come from the emotion of the parade, because we bring the ceasefire message with us. It's all over the truck. And then we have as many victim faces that we can get on the truck. And historically, as we have...
Can I tell you something real funny while
Go ahead.
Child support called me today. Yes.
Okay.
L.A. County Department of Children and Family Services, child support. And they were telling me that I need to make a payment. And the lady asked me, she said, so you're no longer working for that other organization that you work for? I said, no. She says, okay, so are you currently working for Ceasefire?
Working.
And I thought to myself, I said, first of all, lady who I don't know, how did you know that?
Yeah, how
would
you know that?
How would you put me with that? And I said, yeah, you know what? I said, I do work for Ceasefire, but you guys are going to garnish my checks. So what happens is I volunteer with Ceasefire because we don't get no money.
Yeah, the Ceasefire doesn't
We don't
pay.
get no money. But if Ceasefire had money, that lady's sitting there waiting to garnish my checks.
Garnish it? Oh, my God.
But anyway, that was just a funny moment. But go ahead.
That
like what
is
you
funny, because I was hoping she was going to say, well, one of your kids aged out. They're 18
oh, yeah.
now,
A couple of them did. Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay,
right.
But, you know, I just, look, I don't want to talk about child support because
right.
I really don't, because they have our men over such a barrel.
Yes, they do.
Such a barrel. And I'm sorry to say that one of our children's dear friends who got herself caught up, I ain't going to lie, so many of our children's friends got caught up, and that's just the way it was. And based on your neighborhood and the school you went to, and bless his heart, he's a good guy that caught up like you too, Skipp, and had several children when he went into lockup. And when he came out, he had a $70,000 child support debt.
Right.
Now, he's an ex-con. That child support accumulated all the time that he was away. And when he was finally released, the expectation is now you're going to pay this.
Right.
So, that's the hurdle. That's the boot on the back of his neck. That how can I do that?
Oh, I got a boot back here.
Yeah, I know you do,
I got
Skipp.
a big boot back here.
I know you. Well, you got several children.
But you know what? I smile through it all, and I stay focused on what I'm doing, and I don't let the distractions.
Right.
I don't let them get me. I move as if I have no distractions, even though I know it's behind me. So, I mean, that's a testimony to my love and obedience to God. You know, that I know I'm here for a purpose, and it's not for you know, the things that the government will burden us with. Yes. You know, there's a number of things that the government will burden us with, and
oh my goodness,
you know, So I'm not here for them. I'm here for the people, the love of the people. You know, for all the reasons you were talking about Martin Luther King Jr. and the stuff that he does. You want to give a shout out to the guests who were here last week?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do, because that was a very good show and we got a very good response to it. And while we're talking about it, I want to thank Poetess for making it possible for us to simulcast at the Gang Talk Forum on Facebook, because we actually got some chats last week. People,
is that right?
They wrote.
People were talking to us while we were
on the air.
Oh, well, tell us what they say.
Well, I had to go back and read it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I didn't know it while we were on the air, but when I went home and looked at the post, I saw that we actually got some comments while we were on the air. So we want to encourage that, and if they have a question, they can always put it through the comment section on Facebook or call us at that number.
What's the 323 number?
Yes.
The 293-3375 number?
Say that again.
I believe it's 323. 293-3375.
And I believe
if I say it loud enough, it'll appear on the screen. Watch.
Yes.
323.
There it is.
293-3375. I did it with my hand like this.
Yeah. Magic. Right. Okay.
I know how to do that, though.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Well, you're a very gifted young man, and we're so glad that you didn't waste it in death.
Right.
Okay, so
I don't want to get dead.
No, and that's the best thing not to do right now. Certainly not in the middle of this show. Right. But we had
not right now. Yeah, I wasn't even saying like that, but yeah.
I know, but we were thinking about our guests from last week, and one of them's my son too, and.
Who, Lowdown? Andre Christian?
Andre Christian.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And
that guy. And the young man, Jay, I forgot, what is Jay's name? He wrote in your book. I
did.
Jeremy.
I had him sign it because I was
Jermaine or Jeremy, but I know they call him Jay. Mm-hmm. And these are individuals who like your shirt, Lowdown and Jay. Mm-hmm. They like all of their purple life. They come from a purple community. Okay. Because grapes are purple.
I know, and that's a sad look. Let me tell you that Grape Street was so advanced, they didn't even know how advanced they are, because you can't make purple without mixing red and blue.
Ain't that something?
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm wearing it tonight, because this is a unification color right here, Grape Street. Yes, you didn't know how far ahead you were. And our guest is Jerry Mayfield.
Jerry, that's right, Jerry. Jerry Mayfield.
I ain't going to say that. Big J.
Right, Big J.
Okay, Big J.
And he's a coach.
Yes.
Right. So he's coaching the young people, the LA Rams.
Yes.
And helping individuals get into either college or into a career. So
and help some young men get into coaching, too.
Right.
That was another thing that he talked about. So it was excellent.
And they low riders, too.
And they're low riders, too.
Right. Keeping the culture of the black community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
The only thing that I missed was getting Andre to tell us where they meet on Sundays, so lowrider fans without a beef can come and appreciate the restoration that they do on their cars, because it's a great pride that they take in those restorations. And we had the bicycle folks.
Right.
They rode in front of us in the parade Monday.
Oh, okay.
And, there's this young man that... Well, actually, his lady has this beautiful, pristine, royal blue bike with a box on the back. I don't know what you call it, but like a trunk. Okay. Motorized.
All right.
Yeah, and she was just cruising around the truck, sitting up high, and I'm thinking, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. It's like, girl, I need your bike. So I threatened her. I said, hey, look, you better watch me, because I may take that from you. And her man has like a hood on his bike. It's also motorized, but it has a seat where he can ride you like a rickshaw.
Oh, okay.
Only it's a bike. And
you're talking about Kevin Taylor, I think.
Is that his name?
Yeah, he has the bike. He has the music bumping and all that.
Yes.
He has the canopy over there.
The canopy. That's the word I was looking for.
That's KT, Kevin Taylor.
Kevin Taylor.
Yeah, he builds the bikes. He built Snoop Dogg one. He's active at that.
Okay, because the first time I saw Kevin and that bike was at the Upfest.
Right.
When it was over here in Lamert Park. And when I saw that bike, I was
he comes through bumping all the time.
Yeah.
The music loud. Yeah.
Man.
He's really gifted, too. He's gifted. He's a talented young man.
Okay, because I was so impressed, I took a picture of it.
Okay.
And I posted it on Facebook. That was the first time I seen him and seen his bike. And I posted on Facebook and got a whole lot of response.
You know what?
Yeah,
We're
okay.
live on Facebook. If somebody knows Kevin Taylor, a lot of people know him. He's very popular. Him and his brother and his sister. He got a sister. Pookie may know him because he grew up not far from Pookie and all those guys.
I've
so.
seen him in several different locations.
Yeah, 293-3375. Tell Kevin Taylor to call Skipp. I'm looking for him.
Yeah, because sister want to know why she can't get that ride yet.
Right.
That's what I was leading to. I asked for a ride, and everybody looked at me like, "No."
Right.
You know, Big John with the Impala, and Kevin with the bike, and the girl with that beautiful bike. I really want to take home. I just can't get no cooperation. So, you know, let him know the sister's looking for that ride still.
Will do.
And I really would love to have one of those bikes.
Right.
I really would. So, you know, let's make a deal, Kevin.
Right. All right.
So that's my little commercial for tonight.
Yes, indeed.
But we were expecting a guest tonight because it just turns out that the three of us celebrate an anniversary year together, and that's 1988.
Yes, indeed.
And I just, because I've known these young men for quite a while, but some things we just don't talk about. And I was talking to Coach and just reminded him that I started in 1988 with this. And he said, I did some in 1988 too. I was like, what'd you do, Coach? He said, I walked away from the lifestyle I had started. Matter of fact, I ran away. And
yeah, that's when people was getting robbed. That's when people were getting killed. I didn't think I was going to make it out alive.
Yeah.
I'm glad he walked away.
Yeah.
That's probably why he's alive to this day.
It is because, you know, Coach saw some things. And to be fair, Freeway Ricky was 16 and Coach was working very close with him, and Coach was 13.
Right.
Okay. And when Coach got to be 18, what really struck him was the 11-year-olds and the 13-year-olds that now wanted to come and follow in his footsteps.
Right.
You see, and it was like an eye-opener. These are nothing but babies, and I'm getting them in this business, and there's something wrong with this picture, and I just can't do this anymore. Right. So whether it was getting dead or getting right, that's the year that he made his separation from that lifestyle. So I come in here tonight and find out that my son over here shares the same anniversary year for some transitions in his life as well.
Yes,
so, yeah,
I got out the penitentiary. I got out the penitentiary, and the very next day they were shooting at me, and I didn't know what to do. I said, how am I going to live?
You know,
I didn't know how I was going to stay alive in 1988. I really didn't. It was. I'm so grateful to be here.
Me too, Skipp, because what you just talked about and kind of laughed off is a real nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a real nightmare to come out of one hellhole, come home and walk into another hellhole that's intended to kill you. I mean, those are nightmares that we as a people have lived through, and certainly our mothers with our sons, you know, because as you got that second chance,
yes,
I rode with Women Monday that didn't get it.
Right.
They didn't get that second chance with their kids. And so that's what makes that ceasefire truck so very important to us, because we have so many families that are grief-struck. They can't even talk about it. Even to this day, they cannot talk about it. And so it takes a lot of courage for women like Cynthia Mendenhall and Barbara Pritchard Hughes and Kathy Wooten,
right,
to come talk to us, because they've had two sons taken away from them,
right.
Two sons by violence. And so we have so many single families that have been through it, but when you've had two sons, that's just impossible. And so I spoke to Barbara at Christmas time, and bless her heart, the holidays are the hardest for our families,
right.
and we don't play about that. And while I'm just in that note, I'm going to transition because our guest has finally arrived, and I need to spank him for being late.
You want Stevie Wonder to sing to us for a minute or so? Can Stevie sing for us?
I don't know if I want Stevie to sing or just show him coming in.
All right. Well, however you do it.
Come on in.
All right. No Stevie. Just have him come in. Put him in the middle.
Well, you know,
I'll paint him and you beat him.
Okay. You hold him.
Right.
You hold him, I'll beat him. But I got to get a Pete switch first.
But I do got to say, though, that I'm truly grateful that the brother got out in 88 and he got out the lifestyle, got out the work, so that he's here now. Mm-hmm. You know,
we was just telling them about that. Our anniversaries. Yeah. And
do you know what today is? It's our anniversary. Anniversary. Y'all don't know that song, no?
Oh,
Sister don't know it. Look, you know it though, right, Felicia?
Yeah,
she knows that song.
Music. She knows all.
That's
the
Tony.
Oh,
they out Sacramento, I think. I don't think they're out the Bay. But close enough.
Well, you guys are music aficionados, and I am just somebody that left it when it turned to gangster rap.
Oh, okay.
So
you know who Eazy-E is, stuff like that, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg.
Yes, of course I know NWA. Right. Yes, I know. Right. I know them.
You know,
but
the Police and all that, right?
Well, you know, after Ice-T did the Killer Cop,
right?
It's like, oh well, let me just leave this alone. Okay, leave this alone. And then I was fighting with the kids over the video game. What's that video game? Shoot 'em up, kill. You know which one I'm talking about.
You're talking about Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, yeah. I did not want my son playing that game, and there was just no other game he was going to play. It's like, but come on, son. Yeah, well, Mom, you don't have to know. It's like, wait a minute. You don't understand the point I'm trying to make here. And it's like, yeah, but you don't understand how much fun that game is. It's like, what's a mother supposed to do with this? Between the gangster rap and the Grand Theft Auto and the killing and the shooting, it was a whole lot.
I played Mario Brothers. But then I stayed up all night selling drugs and shooting and getting shot at. But I go home and play Mario. So I had nice games to play, but I was still off the chain. Still had 12 kids and all that, boy.
They had Mario Brothers and Ghostbusters, too. I mean,
we had to take the cartridge out, shake it like this, blow on it, and then put it back in and see if it worked because it would get stuck.
Yeah. Wow. Overheat.
Yeah, that's what it would
do. Overheat and shut down. Yeah.
So you used to do that too? You used to shake it, sister?
They did.
Oh, okay.
I watched from the kitchen where I was cooking. I didn't get into the game thing, but they played with their dad.
And then we saved the princess, and you know what color she was when we get there? She was white.
And blonde hair too, isn't she?
Right. Yeah. So I go through all that. There wasn't even no black girl in there.
Even the Mario Brothers was sprung for Barbie.
They should have gave us a choice at least. Like
No. The Mario Brothers was sprung for Barbie.
Okay. I think we should create our own.
I agree with you, Coach. So let's talk about that. So since you was late and we done been rude and talked over you and all that kind of stuff, how did
That's what you get for being late.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So this is our beloved Coach. Coach, introduce yourself and tell us anything about your backstory you'd like to share.
Well, to the audience, first of all, I'll say I'm grateful and thankful that I had the opportunity to be here today with two genuine-hearted people that I love, Skipper and Moms. And I tell you, the backdrop is that I was saved from myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people always think that, you just got away with something or you were slick. And you don't. It just don't work like that.
No.
Something has saved you from yourself.
Yes.
And I'm thankful that I've chose God, who has always saved me from myself. And though in 1988. 88. Wow.
I went to R&R in 88. Y'all know what R&R is? That's release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
88 was definitely a game changer for me. Mm-hmm. So many people were dying around me at that time. And most people actually thought that I was gone to prison in 88. However, I was blessed to get out of the game and go back to school and never told nobody. You know what I mean? The homies from the streets, the mamas and the uncles and the cousins and everybody, nobody knew where I was. I had a little money stashed.
Got away.
And I took my little family and we went over the hump and I went to school. And, the rest was basically history to get back in school. But being in that classroom was different.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't been in school for about 4 or 5 years at that time after being in this drug business. And then the professor came to me and said, hey, you need to check out. And I was like, what you mean check out? He said, well, you flunked the first 4 tests. You know, I was in a statistic math class.
Oh, statistic.
You know, it was tough, and you had to learn the formulas, and I had no idea.
Yeah, well, you said statistics and math.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew how to count a whole bunch of money. I had. I mean, so I figured I could work it out. Mm-hmm. But it didn't happen like that. Actually, I had the class on a Monday and a Wednesday, and he had the class on Tuesday and Thursday. And I asked the man if I could come to his class every day, and then I'd get in a study group, and then I would get a tutor. And he said, but if you pass all 4 exams that are left, you're still going to get a D, and I needed a C to graduate. And so I said, but I can't go back home. He didn't realize that I lived a dangerous life as a child. I lived in an urban war zone. He didn't realize that at all. He had no clue.
There was no understanding in '88 of that.
Man, and then I had 2 babies at the same time, you know, out there. And I just told him, listen, just give me the chance. I'll come. And I guess he thought I was, you know, I wasn't going to do it. And I went to his class every single day. I went to the tutor. I got in the study group. And I passed the next 4 tests with all A's. You know, and then on the final, I got the second highest score on the final. And I was diagnosed my senior year in college with dyslexia. So, you know, the impossible took place, and he ended up giving me a C+. And so I ended up graduating from college.
That's good, though. You know, that's a miracle story considering where you were coming from. Because before you got here, I was telling our family that Freeway was 16. And you were 13 when you started working together in that poisoned arena that we didn't know was poisoning us. And that 88 was your delivery year out of that darkness, in that you saw the 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds now trying to follow your path. Yeah. That was a devastating wake-up for you, too.
It was definitely a wake-up. I mean, you know, because when you're out there hustling, you're really thinking about getting paid. You're not really thinking about the younger ones that are behind you. Matter of fact, you're saying maybe they can help, but not get high. You know, it wasn't like, you know, you're going to be taking some crack and giving it to a 10-year-old. Yeah. You know, you had no concept of that, but it happened. And then at the same time, people don't know about the hand on the other side of the door. As Skipper said earlier, you know, look, we out there selling dope, but when you go to a dope house, they ain't looking at the face. They looking at that money and the hand you're putting the crack into. Right. You know, and I'm putting some crack into a woman's hand or a young lady's hand who was pregnant. But I didn't see the bubble on her stomach. I saw the money and got gone. You know, and then, you know, 15, 20 years later, she has the baby. The baby is born as a crack baby. She leaves and continue to do her street stuff, and now that child is homeless, and then a foster care. Yeah. And then, you know, my life has turned around, and now I'm a track coach at Southwest College, and this baby comes right back to me. Oh, wow. Wow, you know, Lord. And I'm telling my testimony to my student athletes, and she told me her testimony in private, and I said, wow, your mother, you know, used to buy drugs from me in a crack house that I had in the same community that we grew up in, which was the schoolyard neighborhood by Whirl on Wheels, before it was a Whirl on Wheels. And we were sitting in the lobby, and a young lady came by and said, hey, Cheryl, hey, Cheryl. Well, that was her mother's name, but she looked like her mom, and she didn't know it. And she turned and looked at me, and she said, that's my mama's name. And she, you know, she was mad. Yes. And the lady said, oh, I was just with your mama. We was in the rehab last week. Oh, man, that baby turned around, and she started crying. I started crying too, you know, and I just told her, listen, we need to go and see if we can meet with your mom, you know, because if you can forgive her, that might help her. Right. You know, right. And now the mom and her are the best of friends. That's a story. I mean, you know, things like that don't happen for a reason, because the devil come to seek, kill, and destroy. You know, and I tell people that, but if you still breathing, you still got a chance.
You still have a chance.
You
know, because the sad reality is that's a story that has repeated itself in many places.
Yes.
You are not responsible for all of them, just the one that you know of. And that's the sickness that took over because of the drugs. We were sick about the money, and the drugs made us sick. You see, and so in your young age and the way this thing was set up, you had no idea that you were distributing a poison that was going to devastate our people.
No.
You had no idea. There was no understanding of seeing that future until we walked through those doors and saw the devastation of it. And what's made it so different was that it attacked our mothers. It attacked our mothers in that whatever this child's mother experienced, her first time took her mother away from her before she was even born.
Absolutely. I mean, because the worst thing that you could see a person doing or on crack is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because she
God,
sells her body. She prone to AIDS or different type of diseases.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things being passed on. Now, I ain't knocking the fellas, but when I think about even the Crips and Blood scenario, I never, and I've always said this, we don't have a gang issue. We have a substance issue.
Yes.
Only the people that's really getting high when you talk about the statistics is that the highest the statistics are is the highest where the crime rate and the people that's going to jail for a long time or somebody that we grew up with when we as kids spend the night over each other's house and now we enemies because of this dope that just came into on the same block.
On the same
in
block.
the same house.
On the same
how
house.
do you do it? You got brothers killing each other over the dope that's in the house.
I had young men tell me I got in the game because my mom was over in somebody else's neighborhood.
Hello?
Okay. Because my mother was over in somebody else's neighborhood, and I went and got her and brought her home and got in the business to keep her home. So I've heard that story on many, many occasions, and people don't understand the damage that single move did to our families when it captured our mothers.
Carter and Cody told me about a month ago. When I take them home, I always ask them, they spend 3-4 days with me. I ask them, well, what stood out to you during this week? What have you learned? And, what are you grateful for? And Cody said, well, he's funny anyway, a comedian. Mm-hmm. He said, man, I'm glad you're not a bum. And I had to think about it. Mm-hmm. And when you were just saying that about the mothers, I too am grateful that my mother never was addicted to anything.
Yes.
When I was younger and started smoking cigarettes, my godmother had bought me a pack of cigarettes. And she's in the store with my mother, and my mother says, wait a minute, you smoke Benson and Hedges. Who are these Newports for? Uh-oh. And she said, oh, those are for Skipp. And she said, no, if Skipp wants to be addicted to nicotine, he's going to have to learn to pay for them at his 14, 15-year-old age. Oh. So, of course, she came and pinched the shit out of me. And but she was never addicted to anything, and I'm truly grateful.
Yes.
And I'm great. And I got to give a shout-out. My uncle passed away this week. Her brother, she's the oldest, but, and she wanted to take my son to San Jose to see the body and talk about him because he was always, from an early childhood, he was always an addict. Oh. So, it really messed his life up, and he never got right.
Never got right.
Right.
And that's the truth of this. Some folks don't get that second chance.
Right.
Don't get that second chance. And I know, I regret to say, where I got my training for what I'm doing now, I knew many people in that community, and some of them had succumbed to the addiction and given up promising careers, independence in their job skill because of that drug. And at that moment, they were sleeping in anybody's car that would let them.
Right.
No place to go. And this one particular man, his daughters came to get him.
Right.
They came from wherever they were to come recover their dad, and the youngest was 18, the oldest was 20, 21, something like that. And they came to meet him where we were, neutral space. Dad made the decision he was going to stay where he was.
Right. Most of the time they do.
Yeah.
That addiction is just so bad. And, you know, I'm not just talking about crack. I'm talking about meth, talking about heroin, all these different addictions, you know. It's
well,
so
in these years, it was just crack. We didn't have the addition of the heroin. I know it has, but in that particular community, it was just crack sales. I mean, they was just selling crack all day.
Let me tell you, we're going to come back to crack, but I want to tell you how bad that heroin addiction is that, say, for example, there is someone, okay, he mentioned the schoolyard neighborhood over by World on Wheels. If there's someone who lives on, say, Central and Slauson, but they hear that the heroin is so bad over there that somebody died from it. Do you know that all the way from Slauson and Central, all the way from Watson, Compton, they're going to be going over there because they're going to want it. Whatever this drug is, they're going to be saying, I want that. That's how bad the addiction is. Yeah. That if someone dies from it, it is so powerful that it killed people. They're going to line up
to get that.
That's what they want.
Well, let me ask you that. Is that a suicide wish? I'm going to go over here and get my last. It's going to be bad, but I'm going to go out with it.
Some people have it in their mind that happened to them. I'm going to enjoy the high. I'm not going to die. I can handle it. They didn't know how to handle it. They didn't shoot it properly, whatever. But that's some good dope, and they want that. You know, and it's really bad, man. It really is, the addiction. So
that's a mind mess.
Not trying to change the subject, but just saying that addiction is.
But that's true. That's true. And this is the whole point. See, because in my generation, the worst drug that you know, our family just schooled us about was heroin. You do not want to talk to anybody that fools with that drug. You don't want to use it. It's going to make you crazy and just take you away from everything you want for yourself. Right. So they were very clear about that. Raised that way. Raised all of us that way.
But do you know where that came from before there was a Freeway Rick? Do you know that in New York, the Italians used to get into it with each other behind drugs. Like, we going to do this and do that, but we're not going to do drugs until someone said, no, we're going to give it to the moolies. Yeah. That was their term for black people.
The Godfather.
And once they started giving it.
The Godfather.
So think about it. In the late 60s, once they started, in the 60s when they started, you got to figure, look at we just talking about Martin Luther King Jr. So think about the movement and where the world is going and how peace is going to be settled amongst the black community, how we unified and we're coming together, you know, for ourselves, our best interest. Yeah. So what did they give us? They give us heroin.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, and then eventually later on, what do they give us? They give us crack.
Yes. So. Well, you know, the Italians gave us a heroin. The CIA gave us a crack.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the difference. But in the heroin trade in New York, in Harlem, it was Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas. And Frank actually started with the Italians, and then he became an independent, where he went straight to the country of origin and had his own stuff shipped in, so he didn't have to go through the Italians anymore. But those two men were responsible for the majority of heroin addiction in Harlem in those years. Wow. And what's so sad about it is that, you know, Nicky brought his whole family into that business. You know, brought his whole family into it. And then when he finally got busted, he turned his family in and they all went to jail. So even in that history, Nicky Barnes ain't no hero, no kind of way. And I'm really disappointed with Denzel to this day that he made that movie. I
don't think he made it. I think he got paid to play the part.
Well, he got paid to play the part, but Denzel has the kind of star status. He could have said, no, I don't want to do this one. And that was his first thought. I don't think I want to do this role. Right. So I don't know what I think it had something to do with putting on a dress. You either played, play Frank Lucas, or the next movie we want to see you in a dress, we want to see you in a skirt.
Do you see how they demasculize all of our men?
Yes, that I'm making a joke, but I'm serious about it.
Yeah, they take the masculinity out of men, and then you got people like my son Cody and Carter who will look at that,
and
then and so what? So they trying to figure out, what do we do? Are we supposed to be like this too?
Yes.
No, you are not.
Yeah.
No, you are not.
It's hard to fight though, because when you go off to work and the TV turn back on, click. Oh, and they laughing and making cracking jokes like you said your baby crack jokes.
Right.
Well, look, he looking at a guy who's just in a dress cracking a joke.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You know, the symbolic thing that happened in his mind,
in his mind. Yes.
I know Daddy said no.
Yeah.
But it's all in comedy. It's fun. It's funny. And no, it ain't funny, man.
Right.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It ain't funny.
It is. It's been very hard for black men to figure out, how do I navigate through this nonsense? Because I'm a man, and like Dave Chappelle said, I'm not putting on a dress for you.
Let me tell you what a man does,
it.
sister. Let me tell you what a man does, okay? I'm going to go back to the Martin Luther King parade and how we have been in a parade for so many years. And what has happened, Southern California Ceasefire Committee has been in a parade, and the first couple of years it was getting money together from however, and then it was paid for a number of years, right? So this year, when it was not paid for and the word went out that we will not be in the parade, let me tell you what a man does. What does a man do?
Man, he found a way, not an excuse.
This man right here. This man. I'm reading the post. I ain't going. I know I wasn't going. I had stuff to do.
Right.
But this man right here, I just want to take, well, let me wear your hat so I can take it off, bro. So I want to take my hat off to this brother, because what a man does is he finds a way.
Finds a way.
And this man right here, Coach, found a way. Brother, speak to that. I want to give you an award, man. I'm going to give you an award, brother. This is the Martin Luther King Jr. Award, brother, because you made it happen.
All I did was just do it, what you would have done, and Mom would have done. We would just want to find a way. I knew it was something that needed to take place because of our people and what they have been through. We are here to serve each other. So when whoever dropped the ball, I was just trying to pick it up.
That's important.
Pick it up and keep the ball rolling, because it ain't about me, it's about us.
Yes.
See, that's what coaches talk about. When your teammate fumbles the ball, you don't stop and fuss at him. You pick that ball up, make sure we recover it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I do want
Appreciate
to end our conversation on the King Parade, because as many years as we've been in it, we don't deserve the kind of hiccups that sometimes happen. We don't deserve that kind of stuff. And so our commitment to the community that wanted to participate with us, that didn't get a chance to because all of that yes-no stuff, well, we owe them an apology.
Absolutely.
We really do, because I see for years, and I don't know if you see this when you're walking, but when you're on that truck and you see the reaction of the faces of the crowd when they realize who we are, what's on the side of that truck, they're not paying attention to my shirt saying "Ceasefire, let me live." They're looking at the faces that are all over that truck, wondering, well, what is this? And then it's like a light comes on. And then you see the emotion that comes after they recognize it. And I tell you, there has not been a year that I've ridden on that truck that somebody's reaction hasn't caused me to tear.
Wow.
It's like a wow. A wow. They get it. They see it. They really want to reach out and touch us. And it's such a big deal that I kind of get offended with the buffoonery that leads in front of us with floats a ton of people that ain't doing nothing.
Right.
Nothing. But they in the parade because they want to be seen. Now, I got a friend that's in the parade. Oh, I'm going to go be with them, and I'm going to weigh down this float with my presence. And
hello? No, seriously, someone's calling. Caller?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
But yes,
well, this is that 1 hour a week where folks should know.
I think you guys should probably do like I do. There's a button on the side of your phone, no matter who makes your phone, no matter if your phone is a smartphone or if your phone is not smart, if has an IEP, if your phone has it still will turn down on the side of this.
Well,
that's a commercial for volume.
Okay, but my friends are smart and they know better than call me a Thursday between 6 and 7. So right. I didn't recognize guys a number, no offense, and they'll leave me a message if it's important.
Yes,
or
indeed.
if they're on Facebook, they'll send me a comment.
Yes, indeed. Sister Soul, can I say this real quick? Because we talked first about Martin Luther King Jr., and we don't have to talk about the parade, but I want to tell you guys something about Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday is actually January 20th.
Okay.
So January 20th in 1966, this young boy was born, and they say that he had a part down the middle of his head like this, and his hair stuck up, and his auntie called him Bozo. And they shortened it, and his name is Darren Bo Taylor.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
And he walked the streets of L.A.
Yes, he did.
And he was an original member of a group called Rise. So as a lot of people don't know about in Watts during the time of Latasha Harlins was killed, Henry Pico was killed in the Imperial Court Projects. So they're coming together to bring what they called a peace treaty amongst the projects. Akila Sherrill, his brother Dawu, a number of people.
That was 92.
No. It was 91.
Okay.
So, see, a lot of people think it was 92 because it went public in 92.
Well, they made that banner, with the handshake, and I posted that. So, and that's where I got the 92.
Yeah, so for Teresa Allison, her son, Dwayne Holmes, they call him Snipe, and Bull from off of 53rd and Avalon, they were doing this great work, wonderful work, and Bo Taylor heard about it, and he started doing the same thing on the west side, gathering people on the west side, and eventually he started Unity One.
Right.
And, and it just blossomed and grew out of there. And I just want to give a shout out because this is going to be the 10-year anniversary of his death.
Oh, wow.
So he actually left us August 11th, 2008, and his birthday is Saturday. So
Saturday,
to the entire Taylor family.
Yes. Man, Bo, we appreciated you. We really did because, Bo is the one that partnered with Pete Carroll to come out and walk the Watson neighborhood to find some young men to get into playing football. That was Bo Taylor's doing to get Coach Pete Carroll from USC.
Well, I think, there was a lot that Bo was doing.
Yes,
he would take.
That was part of it.
Well, I was with him when we would go into the Imperial Courts. We go into the Nickersons, and then we would do it just like that. We go into Imperial Courts, then we go into the Nickersons, but we would start like at 8 at night, and we'd go see Sister, then we'd go see Donnie and Hank. They would hang out, leave the gym open, 9, 10 o'clock. I'm like, all right, time to go home. But no, now it's 11 o'clock at night, and we hanging out with Bow Wow and the Candy House. I'm like, Pete Carroll, do you realize that me and you are? First of all, you are the coach of USC.
Yes.
And I'm a well-known blood.
Yes.
And the two of us are in a candy house.
Yes.
And the Jordandale projects, right?
Yes.
So one of these little kids done said, "Oh, Pete," and we're in the candy house, and he convinced him come to my house so we could watch this film because he played at Jordan High School. So Pete ran out the candy house with the little boy, took off across the projects. So when I came back without Pete Carroll, everybody was mad. Like, Skip, what did you? And I said, man, he went. So now the whole Watts team, we all running. And there was about 15, 20 people in this lady house watching football with her grandson. And I said, you know what? This is the realest moment ever.
Yes.
How does it get any better than this? Right.
Yes.
So, I don't want to keep him out the loop because Coach was actually there as well. Maybe not at that one time, but he was at USC with Pete Carroll all the time. And
this is a family history. It's amazing
I
that.
tell you how far the family goes back because when we were little kids in elementary school, Bo and Don and we used to spend the night over each other's house as kids. So when
Bo and Donnie?
Yeah, I went to Mount Vernon and LA High, and so I played football as a quarterback, and Bo played. Everybody wanted to do their own thing, and they did the pop locking and the dancing. We did that in middle school at Mount Vernon, and I got out of it quick. I wanted to be dancing, but I wanted to play football because my other friends was playing football. And so when this thing came full circle, I became the head football coach at Compton College, and I had an All-American linebacker, and he committed to USC, and that's how me and Pete, had this relationship. And then Pete called me one day and said, "Hey, man," he said, Cornell, I need you to help this guy. And I said, well, who is he? They call him a bozo. I said, who, Bo Taylor? And he said, yeah, that's him. I said, okay, that's my friend.
Yeah, that's my friend.
He didn't know the tie-in. Mm-hmm. And then eventually he, when we had those quiet times, we had a chance to chatter and talk about it. And then Bo went on to heaven. Mm-hmm. And then I got another call and said, hey, do you want to help? And that's when I had to go in and help out. Mm-hmm. So it worked out. Mm-hmm. It worked out.
Well, it's been an amazing path. It really has. When you think about the nightmare that started the three of us, and here we are coming full circle, trying to do something greater than what that. Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
We're not trying to do nothing.
Missed that myself. Okay,
we're trying.
We're working greater. Yes.
Everything we talked about tonight, we are doing.
Yes.
And when we looking out, we are the Martin Luther King Juniors. We are the Harriet Tubmans of today. We are the Nat Turners. We are the Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. We are the ones who are doing the work. And I brought up when everybody knows about Martin Luther King Jr. and all the great work he did, but we have to talk about Bob Moses. We have to talk about Andrew Young. We have to talk about Reverend Abernathy and others. There's so many great people. John Lewis.
Still out on the front line.
Yes, we have to talk about these other people who did great work, and we just can't overlook them. So even though we could talk about Bo Taylor today and the great work he did, but there's so many of us. And as we cannot even talk about Bo Taylor without calling on our engineer, our producer, our what's her name?
Hostess with the mostest.
The hostess with the mostest, right? We have to mention her too, because all the work she did over at K-Day and the Beat and in radio, and she worked directly with Bo. And matter of fact, that's how I met her. I met her through Bo.
Okay,
and I was thrilled. Like, man, Bo know everybody.
Yeah, he did. And now you know everybody.
He introduced me to Harry Belafonte. He took me to the mayor. We was just talking about Viracocha, right? Bo told me come with him to the mayor's office one day, and I had on some shorts. I was at the 10th Ave swap meet. I had on some short pants. I had on house shoes. And a black T-shirt, a shirt just like
socks.
This. Right. So, but my socks didn't come up here. That's Taco.
Okay.
But anyway, so I had the house shoes on. I got in the car with him, and he just looked at me and said, "Young fella," and I said, "Yeah." He said, "You ready to go?" And I said, "Yeah." I lived right around the corner. I lived on Adams. He could have took me home. I could have put some shoes on, chains or something. But
some long pants.
He let me choose what I chose, and we went to go to the mayor's office like that. And I get that to Bo. Like, he met me where I was at. But then afterwards he said, "Man, we gonna take you over to Macy's, get you some Dockers or something."
Get you some khakis. Long pants.
He said, "Nah." He said, "Skip, man, I'm gonna show you something, man." He said, "You don't have to wear a shirt and tie. Just put on these Dockers and a button down, man, and then people will listen to you more."
Did you know you was going to the mayor's office?
Yeah, he said we're gonna go to City Hall. I didn't know I was actually going to meet the mayor. We going to City Hall. I didn't know we going into
But
this
you thought
office.
You was going to go out and sit on the front lawn.
Well, I thought we just going to City Hall.
Under the tree.
I had no idea. But
across the street from Parker Center.
Right. But, but just grateful to all the work that everybody does,
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is walking history right here. It's walking history right here. And the amazing thing is that we share 88.
Yeah.
The three of us share 88. It's a big deal. Not just another year, an eventful year. Something transition. Now, maybe you was just coming out, but
just got out.
God was knocking on your head, telling you ready yet? Yeah.
I was doing a transformation. I was going back.
Yeah.
Right.
And just trying not to turn back because it wasn't easy.
You know what? Let's be serious. This has not been easy to walk away from. Oh my God! And so many people didn't get a chance to walk away. There was none. And some of the backstories of some of the things that have happened are still sad to hear, but in a odd sort of way. They resolved a bad situation. The outcome resolved a bad situation in the first place, and there's nothing to celebrate except that it's done. That chapter and that story is closed. Okay, now we have the other ones to move on to. And the one thing we haven't had is the equality in justice in this. And this is where young people don't understand they need to. You're never going to get even. I don't care what neighborhood you're from or what payback you think you owe. This is never going to be even. So the best thing we can do is stop the game of death and teach our children that their life has more value than to shed their blood in the gutter for no good reason. And gang homicide in 2018 does not have a good reason.
Right.
No good reason. Now, I'm not going to say that back in the beginning because there was a lot of harm done, a lot of hurt. I cried, I cried with Michael Sterling's dad, the young man that was killed on the Harbor Freeway coming home from Cal State Dominguez. And we stood on the corner with his father and all the black leadership of LAPD that would come out at that time, and we stood with the Singleton family and cried with them. And his father, of course, was heartbroken, his only son. And that's a story that has played out so many times over these years that something happened in 2009. You mentioned that, and it just swept past my head because there was something. Bo Taylor. Was that 2009 that he passed?
2008.
8, the year before. Yeah. Well, 2009 is when I went to the radio, but we already had ceasefire was already established, and didn't find you in 2005.
2005 ceasefire was established, but I wasn't a part. Bo Taylor, that's when I was, telling Bo I'm serious. I want to be a part of this. But I didn't become a part of ceasefire until 2006.
Okay. Because those are dates that I find hard to remember because in that time, grandmother Jean Cole had been killed in the crossfire on 95th and Western. 2 young men wanting to kill each other and running away from each other at the same time they're shooting back over their shoulder, trying to save themselves and kill that grandmother in their crossfire. And so we actually went out, and then shortly after that, I know I met you somewhere around there, Skipp, because you and Taco and P came into our
right.
forum.
So even before that, Ashley is a young lady Marcia's daughter. She was killed on 40-something in Western, 48th. No, it wasn't 8th. It was right before Friday.
It wasn't 48th.
It was by the AutoZone or the Rileys.
43rd. Yeah.
But anyway, so I had met you and what's his name?
Earl.
We talked to no, wasn't Earl too, but I'm talking about the other. What's his name? I won't say his name because you don't like him. Yeah. I don't like him. We don't like him.
Well, don't tell everybody who I don't like, okay? Because
no, but it wasn't Earl. It was somebody else.
I think they can
right.
figure it out.
But,
that's okay.
But pretty much, from there, and I started, trying to figure out what you guys were doing or whatever, and that's when I found out that you guys were at the Lucy Florence every Saturday. And
right.
So this is around the same time that they're about to have, ceasefire's about to have their second ceasefire breakfast. And, they had really asked me to leave a couple times. And I insisted that I would go to the breakfast and bring 3 other people. And that's when me and Taco, P, and all of us walked down there.
So well, what brought that together, because I got my dates wrong. Delisha Allen, little 15-year-old girl, was killed in front of Locke High School.
Right.
Standing next to the Target.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. And we were doing forums at that time, and her family came over to see us. Wow. Can you help us? Is there any help for us? And so it's kind of hard to keep those names and dates separated because we have been through so much. But
you got to let him say something to the people, man. Close out something.
Well, it just so happened when you said the young lady at the Locke High School.
Yes.
And she had 2 little brothers. But I was a football coach at Washington High where they became my football players.
Her brothers.
Yeah, her brothers. And they had some really, really emotional issues because of that.
Yes.
And then I graduated one, and the other one got killed too at 19. He was right there on Vermont in 91st. Somebody set him up and they shot in the car, and he died. But it was him, a girl, and another guy. All 3 died. They only talked about him though, and didn't talk about the other 2. And then for somebody to know who did it, you know how that goes.
Right. Somebody knows.
And nobody's saying nothing. You know how that goes.
Yes.
Somehow we got to break that curse.
Right.
And make people held accountable, because then the retaliatory thing still kind of happens. Because anytime you lose a child, if it was your child or my child, as a daddy, I would be extremely hurtful and angry, but I wouldn't want to go back and kill somebody else's child.
No.
Right.
No. You want vengeance, but you want vengeance against the one that harmed you, not somebody that had nothing to do with it. That's just insanity. That's the definition of sanity, to go hurt somebody that's done nothing to you. Right. So we're almost out of time, Coach.
We're out of time.
We are kind of. So I really want to give you 30 seconds to say something to the young people.
To the young people, I hope that you hear me. Know that it's not of me, but it's the one that I choose to love and honor the most, and that's God. He can save you from yourself. All you have to do is trust and believe, and obedience is better than sacrifice.
That's right.
Love him more than anything, and I promise you this, he will never leave you nor forsake you. Okay. And I thank you because I truly love you.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach.
Make me want to say amen.
Amen. Yeah,
Amen.
let's say amen first,
Amen.
right? Because that's a mutual prayer. We're all in agreement, and family, we want you to be in agreement with us too.
Y'all hear my theme music, and I ain't even say.
I think so. Well,
keep your head to the sky. She ahead of me this week.
And God bless you, and
Gotta wait
thank you
for
for
my
living in. Gang Talk and Vanna Black and Skipp Townsend will be back again next week.
Yes,